please subscribe for more videos and remember to set the notification bell so you'll never miss a new video. Hey everyone, in today's video I wanted to talk about the benefits that I've personally noticed of naturism. Before we get into that topic, I also just want to share my goal moving forward will be to upload videos either once a week or 4 times per month. And that is my goal, and I wanted to just share that with y'all because that goal is really important to me, and getting back to it and making it something sustainable is important to me moving forward. During the pandemic and during previous years of my life, there were always so many reasons why I was either too busy or too overwhelmed to be able, mentally or physically able, to prioritize recording videos. Another block that I was imposing on myself was a sense of perfectionism, that I needed to make each video specific and as perfect as possible before uploading it. And that actually has held me back for a long time and actually prevented me from posting anything, which I no longer want to do. So in the future, I'm going to try my best to post more often / more consistently. Again, my goal will be either once a week or 4 times per month, whichever works out best timing-wise for that particular month. And you may see that my videos may not be quite as elaborate, but I'm honestly just gonna do my best, and I really am trying to let go of that sense of perfectionism and just create the content that I feel I want to create, and that for me feels just fun to make. One thing that I've always been interested in, if you've watched my channel for any length of time, is just following my gut and posting about what I want to create and not really paying attention to trends and things like that. And so that will be my goal moving forward, is to combine those two things of just like following my gut and not being perfect, and that'll be okay. So speaking of not being perfect, that is a big element of what I want to talk about today, which is naturism. If you're not familiar with the term naturism, you may be more familiar with the term nudism. It is the same thing, but I really prefer the term naturism because I find that the term nudism it can be unnecessarily sexualized, when the whole point of naturism is really nothing to do with that. It's literally just about being like physically and emotionally comfortable in your own skin and in your own body, and just in like a day-to-day casual way. And so my last video I was talking about the scientific evidence-based way to heal, quote-unquote chronic pain. The term I like to use is neuroplastic pain, and it's related to the idea of naturism because for me naturism has been a tool that I've used for healing over these past several years. And when I refer to naturism, like in my own life, I just mean like at home, in the privacy of my own home. But yeah, just not wearing anything. And for me, the way that relates to neuroplasticity was actually triggering for me pain sensations in my low back. And that, along with, as a woman, the feeling, like the subconscious pressure of always feeling like you sort of need to like suck in your tummy, or your, like kind of like hold in your belly. I always try to like avoid doing that, but there's something about like the physical sensation of like when you're wearing like tighter clothing that doesn't have a lot of stretch or give. In my case, especially like jeans with a belt. I just truly didn't even realize how much that constant tightness or like snugness right around my belly was, number one, interfering with my breathing, and two, the snugness of that was sort of constricting my belly and my low back, and it was honestly like triggering tension and pain that I didn't realize was even happening until I stopped wearing constrictive clothing. And now, like, a couple of benefits is, of naturism, now that I'm no longer wearing that super constrictive clothing, is literally breathing deeper. When you breathe as a human, you're supposed to breathe into your whole entire torso. You're supposed to, when you take a deep breath, breathe into your belly and into your chest. Not just your chest, but into both your belly and your chest. So I want you to actually test this now by gently placing a gentle hand on your belly and gently placing a gentle hand right squarely below your collarbone, like right at the top of your chest. And just breathe in at whatever pace is comfortable for you. You don't need to slow it down. You don't need to speed it up. Just whatever pace feels normal and comfortable for you. But I want you to notice, as you breathe in and out, is your belly actually expanding with your chest, or are you only breathing into your chest? Because when you breathe into both your belly and your chest, that allows you to take in so much more oxygen, because you're using like your whole diaphragm to breathe. This is key when it comes to calming anxiety, and because neuroplastic pain and sensations are pretty much literally caused by stress, anxiety, and trauma. For me, learning how to properly breathe, not just when I'm meditating, not just when I am relaxing, but trying to keep breathing properly throughout my whole entire day was so key. It takes a long time of practicing that to actually make it into a sustainable habit. And so, for me, doing naturism and being nude at home and not wearing any clothing. Sometimes if I need to wear socks, I'll do that, but that's pretty much it when I'm at home. It is so helpful to not have anything physically constricting my breathing. And just to take a step back, prior to doing naturism at home, I was also braless since like 2014, I think. So I'd say like I really implemented naturism a lot more heavily, like honestly starting during the pandemic, and then from there, so probably was braless, and I would only wear like sometimes like a tank top, like from Target, and this was not a tank top that had any type of a built-in bra or anything like that. No shelf bra, no nothing. And that's pretty much all I would wear if I needed to underneath certain other articles of clothing, like a shirt or a dress shirt or a sweater or something, unless it was summertime and I was at work or something, then I might wear like a polo or something on top. But point being, I think I've just always found that constrictive clothing just feels really bad for me, and I've realized over the years with healing from neuroplastic pain and sensations that I'm pretty sensitive to sensory input, which I learned about a lot in my work previously as a therapeutic writing educator, working with people who had really more intense sensitivity, or should I say, they had increased sensitivity to certain stimuli and sensory input, like textures, noise, lights, music, sometimes even like the weather, if it was like raining out or something. But for me, it often really comes down to like physical touch and sensation on my skin or on my body. So I've realized about myself over the years that constrictive things like bras or pants that don't have give or stretch, or belts, or the tag on the inside of the shirt, either at the neck, the back of the neck, or even on the inside of the shirt, like to the side of the belly. Also, like with certain underwear, if you're not familiar, but like women's underwear will often have what's called a gusset sewn right into it, and that has always like driven me insane. And I've always hated that, like physically, that sensation. It would cause me to like just constantly feel like I needed to like adjust, and it was just so uncomfortable. And so another thing I've gathered over the years, thank God, one of my community members from my fertility awareness Instagram page, I believe her name was Erin, she recommended to me a brand called Bootywear, Boody, and they make bamboo-based clothing that's like really soft, very stretchy, and they make underwear that has no gusset built in, so it's just like one continuous piece of fabric with no additional stitching, and it's seamless. And oh my gosh, moving from old underwear that was so constrictive that would literally cause me to have like red marks all over my like my hips and stuff, moving from that to booty wear, which was so stretchy and had no like seams. Oh my god, it was like wearing a cloud or nothing compared to wearing like a piece of like baling twine. Like it went from being so uncomfortable and, you know, something that would cause me to be so fidgety to feeling way more relaxation. But even with booty wear, which like I'll wear when necessary, even so, I choose not to even wear that when I'm at home, because it's like, why wear anything if you're in the privacy of your own home? Which leads me into another facet of this. So far we have the benefit of being able to breathe deeper, which lowers and calms helps anxiety. We have the benefit of less sensory input, so feeling more physically comfortable, less fidgety, less distractible from those constant irritations of fabrics. This leads me into my third thing and third benefit, which is literally just feeling comfortable in your own body and your own skin, and an element of self-acceptance, and that you don't need other people's validation, because when you actually start to utilize naturism, or practice is the best word, practice naturism, you just realize, look, everyone has a body. I don't care what your body looks like. I don't care what your body is capable of. You have a body, and no one's body is perfect. Everyone has imperfections, and what's so powerful about naturism is you just realize, yeah, you have imperfections. Literally, who cares? You learn to just not care at all, which is wonderful, because it helps you to realize you don't need to compare yourself to others. You have your own one body, and that's it. You don't get a second one. You don't have a second chance. This is it. And for me, I was in such a deep depression from my neuroplastic pain and symptoms. It was driving me to have thoughts of suicide, because I just felt like I was enduring such limitations compared to what I used to be able to do physically. And it was just incredibly depressing for me. And so with naturism, it just allowed me to no longer have to constantly consider, okay, I'm having this sensation today. How am I going to dress to help me deal with that sensation, or that symptom, I should say? To just be able to not wear anything is so freeing, and it brings such a pleasant feeling of comfort that counteracts in the brain those other feelings of discomfort, sensations, or pain. So one key thing with healing from neuroplastic pain and sensations is you actually have to actively seek out and actively pay attention to neutral and pleasant sensations, rather than hyperfixating on or hyper-focusing on the other types of discomfort or pain sensations that you may be experiencing. And so naturism allowed me to focus on just the pleasant feeling of if my cat was leaning against my leg, there's a pleasant sensation. Or if I'm nestled in a really soft blanket and I can feel the blanket all over, and there's no other barrier between me and the blanket, that would feel very calming. Or if I was just in the house and I was able to increase the warmth and the heat in the house, just being able to experience that general warmth and heat right against my skin, as opposed to having to wear 5 layers of sweatpants and long underwear and socks and slippers and a hoodie and a scarf and a coat. Growing up, my mom, and I can't blame her, but she wanted to always save money in the winter on heating, and so we would keep our house at 64 degrees, just so cold, and it was so uncomfortable for my body. It would cause so much stiffness for me, and as a result, I've learned to really seek out warmth and heat, even right now, this moment that I'm talking, as I'm recording recording this, I'm literally sitting on a heating pad right now to stay more warm because my muscles respond better to that warmth and that heat. And it feels great because practicing naturism right now, like, it's just the warmth of the heating pad, it's the softness of this super soft blanket, and there's no barrier to that, and it just feels extremely comforting and freeing. So those elements of breathing better, calming anxiety, having less sensory issues and distractions, and that element of self-acceptance that everyone has a body, everyone's body is imperfect, and you just learn to like accept that. Like I walk by the mirror like 20 times a day and I'm just like, okay, there's my belly, there's my like leg hair, cool, and I don't give a heck. That's just me. That's just the body that Megan lives in, and that's okay. So that's been an incredible lesson to embody. Another one that I'll share is better sleep. This coincides well with less like sensory distraction. So, like when I used to wear like pajamas to sleep, I would constantly again be like adjusting, and I'd have to like get into a comfortable position, and then I would feel that comfortable position, but then I would be like, I have to like move my pants or something to the side, and then after that I would be tired again, but then my sock was like falling down, so I'd like pull up my sock, or like my hoodie when I was trying to go to sleep, my pajama hoodie, like it would be too tight around my neck or something. Like it was always something. And now practicing naturism and just sleeping without any clothing except for socks. I do recommend sleeping with socks because it improves the speed of sleep onset, so you fall asleep faster and you stay asleep longer, and it improves the quality of your sleep overall. So I definitely do recommend still wearing socks, but I specifically only wear alpaca socks because they're so soft and breathable and warm. So cotton, nope, it's not warm enough. Wool, yes, it's warm, but it can also be scratchy unless it's merino. But alpaca is like the gold mine. It's like a cloud. I literally have like one pair of alpaca socks that I just keep. It's like part of my bedtime only. Like I don't really wear them during the daytime. I put them on when I get into bed. I take them off and I put them on the bed and I leave them there for the next night. But otherwise, there's nothing else to adjust, and being able to sleep better because I'm not fiddling with any pajamas. I'm not having to adjust anything. That's been a major improvement. So, we're talking about breathing more deeply into the belly and less constriction. We're talking about calmer anxiety, less sensory issues, better sleep quality, more self-acceptance and self-love, and honestly, those are probably the biggest factors and the biggest reasons why I would advocate that everyone try and practice naturism or consider doing it in the privacy of your own home, or in like just in the privacy of your own like dorm or your own room, like wherever you have privacy. I would encourage it because again, it is so freeing. It's incredible. The other thing that encouraged research on actually like eating disorder recovery from Dr. Nicola Rinaldi. She wrote a book called No Period, Now What? And she is an expert in essentially like treating hypothalamic amenorrhea, but excuse me, she works with a lot of people who are recovering from various types of eating disorders, and I was reading one of her things that she was sharing, and she talked about wearing looser clothing so that you're not as inclined to constantly be like physically feeling differences in weight changes. And that really resonated with me as well, because like when you have jeans, you really notice week to week, like, oh, I don't fit into these jeans as well as I did last week or something, and that weirdly can be stressful, because it makes you constantly, like, just hyper vigilant and hyper aware of, like, how much you weigh, when it's totally normal to have natural fluctuations in your weight throughout your ovulation cycle, or just, like, over the course of a year and throughout the seasons, regardless of who you are. And so I find that looser fitting clothing with more give and more stretch is, again, it just helps me at least to feel more at home in my body, because I'm not constantly like hyper aware, hyper vigilant about my weight. And that ties back into the element of self-acceptance, like just accepting and sort of going with the flow of how you feel. And so yeah, for me, again, it really comes back to how I feel in my body physically. If I'm feeling just like good and pleasant and content physically, being able to feel more free in a sensory from a sensory standpoint, and all those good things. Alright everyone, I think that I've talked myself out at this point, but those are my thoughts, and I really wanted to share them, and just ask you guys, like, have you tried Naturism, and if so, what have been your experiences? Because I truly have found it to be so empowering, and I recommend it to others, no matter who you are. I feel that it's incredibly empowering to be in touch with your body, and to work toward that element of self-acceptance. I think we all need a bit more self-love and self-acceptance in our lives. So I hope this was helpful. I hope maybe it intrigued you to consider giving it a try. And again, if you have given it a try, I'd love to hear, like, for how many years have you practiced this, and what have been your takeaways? What have been the key lessons that you've learned? Please share them in the comments below, because it's like such a simple way that we as people can bring in more of that self-acceptance without necessarily needing to go out and do anything big or major or public to, like, bring about some sort of like widespread change. It's something that's just very personal and like internal to yourself, and very powerful. Alright everyone, I hope you have a great day or night whenever you get the chance to listen to this. I look forward to posting more soon and continuing to hear from you in the comments. That's the best place to reach me, is the comments. And if you have any topic ideas for things that I can ramble about, please let me know. And I'll do my best. Alright, hope you have a great day or night, and we'll talk soon.